Hey everyone out there, thank you for joining us today for a special time. We have our guest here, Joe Hanks, in the room, and we're going to be talking about mindset, learning about his past, how he has transitioned from a professional athlete into being a coach and a father of his athlete, and what that's like. I'm Cynthia, and this is
Phoebe.
And we would love to get started.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us, Joe. We love to have you here. I know that I know you for like the past 3-4 years, but I haven't fully asked you about who you are as a human being, as a former athlete. So let's start there. Tell us a little bit more about you and kind of where are you right now, currently.
So Joe Hanks, pro boxer for many years, New Jersey originally. Came here to California when I went to the pros, and this became home. So now I'm Pasadena, suburban dad, coaching football. Not hitting anybody anymore. So, just transitioning for life after the sport.
Right. Yeah. Well, that sounds. I don't know. I've never been to. It's called Brick City, right?
Brick City Boxing. So Brick City Boxing is the gym I own. It's my gym here in Pasadena, and that's where I kind of give back and take some of my knowledge and give it back to the everyday person.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, I love that for you, and I'm gonna take it from the beginning and the start. So, tell us about your earliest experience with sports.
Early experience with sports, it goes back as far back as I can remember. I've always been an athlete. Maybe I jumped into boxing at 10, played basketball, football. So I'm a natural athlete. So I was always playing sports. I was always involved with something. Growing up in inner city, sports is kind of our sanctuary. It's where we get a chance to go somewhere and be able to see the world. I was a chess player. I've done a little bit of everything.
Chess player?
Yeah, I was actually really good at chess. Those are the only trophies my mom kept. So really? Newspaper clippings, trophies all over. I would travel to tournaments, speed, chess, had my board. Just wasn't that acceptable to walk around my board in my chess pieces. But yeah, definitely, I did a little bit of everything.
Wow. So note to self, never play chess.
I know.
With Joe.
So how would you say chess has helped you in athletics?
So it gives me the ability to think ahead. When you play chess, you're always taught to think so many moves ahead. So, you're never just doing what's right there in front of you. It also gave me a chance to think fast. Speed chess was actually one of my things I actually enjoyed the most was playing speed chess because I had to think quick, I had to be on the fly.
Right.
So, I get a chance to just move and continue going. So things just kept going. So, chess helped me with critical thinking. And also being uncomfortable. When you're sitting there playing in a tournament and, you're playing kids from all over who probably don't have the same background as you, it makes it a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, you teach me to be comfortable at being uncomfortable at an early age.
How did you work through that adversity for yourself?
Sometimes it was trial and error. Sometimes it was just because in the beginning, your first probably therapist is your parent, right? So, and a lot of times we have to figure it out on our own. We have to just go through the fire, go through the storm, and just kind of work through it, see what works best for me, what I don't like, and kind of figure out if it's something it makes me too uncomfortable. I don't know if I want to do that. Sometimes we really don't have a choice.
Right.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're saying, your parent was your first therapist, and I'm just wondering how, maybe it was your parent or another adult. How do they talk you through some of that adversity?
You know what? Honestly, they're most of the time in the beginning they're doing the best they can. So you're getting like their version of what therapy looks like for them. Sometimes it can be just do it, go do it, you'll figure it out, it'll work itself out. Some of them you may get a nurturing side. Don't worry about it. It's gonna get better. So you constantly hear that. And over time, as you continue to play sports or you do certain things, you kind of get aligned with people who are a little more advanced in certain things. So some of you may get a coach who may communicate to me a different way. So it's just based on the circumstance, based on who ends up in your life. So like I said, it's the parent, then it becomes the coach, then it becomes the neighbor, then it becomes the older brother, then it becomes I'm a sponge. So I tend to take as much as I can from everything around me and try to apply it to my own life.
Right. And so how, I asked this question, Joe, because there's a running joke in these podcasts that I'm not I'm not an athlete.
Mhm.
I didn't grow up playing sports.
Mhm.
Everything was books, which is a different type of mental exercise there.
Mhm.
And so I'm always very fascinated by how athletes know that they're good at it. Like, how did you know that you were good at?
First time someone gave me something for doing the sport, you
Oh,
think you're
okay.
doing okay. But honestly, I mean, the fact that you have all the book smarts, I mean, you listen to people, anybody know anything about sports, they'll say sports is 90% mental, 10% physical. We don't do 90% mental training. So our mental training typically comes from those people that come into our life. Those are the ones who do that. So I'm a firm believer that the more book smart you are, the better you can assist into your world of sports. Man, I'm a huge advocate of like reading books and trying to understand better about like the guys who did it before me. But when you really know that you're good at something, is pretty much when someone gives you something for doing it. Right? It could be a trophy when you're early on. When you become a professional, they're giving you a check.
Right.
But it's pretty much when you're younger, you might get a few more things at the lunch table. You may you get little perks here and there. People, they remind you that, oh, that's the kid who does this, and kind of get a pass to do certain things that other kids don't. So that's when you start to go, maybe I'm doing something right. Maybe I'm okay. I'm doing all right. I'm on the right path.
Yeah. And in those moments, because everyone has these moments of like, I don't know, maybe there's doubt,
Absolutely.
and so how did you overcome that piece that, what was your mindset? How did you have to shift your mindset on those days where you weren't always there?
Later on, as I got better, I got around more people who were qualified at what they were doing to, like, as sports therapists. I had different types of coaches. I had a strength and conditioning coach, boxing coach. I had, they started to tell you things like focus on what's in your control. Then they would tell me things like every 2 days aren't the same. Then you have some who will say, hey man, the feelings that you're feeling, believe you me, the other guys are feeling the same things. You start to feel like maybe nothing's wrong with me. I remember hearing Mike Tyson say that he was afraid before every fight. And I was like, there's no way, no way. And how he broke it down was he went after guys extremely fast because he thought if he hit you first, you probably wouldn't hit him. So then I started to realize that all the great simplified things in their mind. So I apply that to the way I coach, the way I go after things. I simplify it. There's no $1 million formula. It's just simplifying it the best way that you can process it.
I really like that. And you're touching on so many points, like the mental resilience and somebody normalizing those feelings for you and making it, everybody feels these things at some point, right? And I'm glad you touched on the piece about being a coach now, right? And so how do, when you think of mental growth, or we call it the mindset, blue chip mindset, how do you explain that? Because you coach your son as well, and he is how old now?
He's 9.
I always think he's still, in my mind he's 4, but that's okay. But he's not 4 anymore. So how do you explain that aspect of mental growth or resilience how do you explain it to a 9-10-year-old in plain language?
First off, it's just simplifying it and telling him that, hey man, let's have fun. Let's start there. Let's have fun. 2, I remove the pressure from him. I don't care if you drop a pass. I don't care if you miss a flag. I just want to see you show effort. And that's how I simplify it for him. I try to make it as, hey man, let's not put that type of pressure on ourselves. You have your whole life to allow sports to put pressure on you. Today, man, just go be you. I'm gonna love you regardless. And once we kind of remove that, I'm gonna let dad down. Or and sometimes I'll play certain teams. They don't even realize that's my son. Because I'm literally talking to everyone the same way. And it's not just with him, with the other kids. It's if I can get them to be confident in what they're doing, then they're able to be free and actually show. And I think that's why we do so well, because the kids don't have that added pressure. And if they have a dad that's probably like, I'm like, hey, you look at me after every play. You don't look over there. Because I actually show empathy towards those kind of dads, because they're really just operating from a space of trauma. Their dad probably yelled at them when they did. They probably weren't that good. So, what I do is I try to remove the ego, and I go after my kids and I tell them like, hey man, let's just have fun. Let's do this one thing. We can focus on this one thing and you just do that one thing really well, then we'll add on other things. But let's just focus on one thing at a time. So each kid has one thing that they have to focus on. And that's how you just kind of allow the brain to slow itself down. It's like all this noise. And I know that from having to walk into an arena, right? It's all these people watching. Oh, I hope I don't do so bad. I hope I do well. You know, you have all these different things and all this doubt and all these things. You have to learn how to simplify. You have to learn how to focus on what's in your control. And it goes back to all those teachings from those earlier therapists, right? That parent, that coach, that guy at the restaurant, that lady at the bus stop. You know, everyone's giving you something. Everybody's dropping off gems. And if you're a sponge, you're able to take it and absorb it. And then you use it later on. Use it when you need it.
When you were walking into the ring or going into these venues and seeing everything, how did you simplify it for yourself, just in terms of maybe even before you really stepped in and saw your opponent, but there's this noise, there's people yelling, there's haters, and then there's people cheering, and you know,
Great question.
how do you handle that?
Meditation, imagery. I actually saw myself walking in there before I got there. I would Google the venue. I would know who I was competing against, but I would sit there before I got there. I would sit there and I would really just get lost in breathing, seeing myself there, seeing myself perform well. So when I got there, it wasn't the first time I got there. I saw it over and over and over, and I replayed how this would go, X, Y, and Z. So with doing that, you just get a chance to start to get those nervous feelings before you get there.
Yeah.
So when I arrived, it's like, oh, I almost have a deja vu moment, right? And then what I do with the noise is I focus on what's in my control. I would tell myself and over 3 things that I was good at. 3 things that if I did these things, it wasn't going to change the outcome of the competition, but I would do well. So I would get lost into those different things. So it was really, really broken down and very analytical how I would approach things. So it was, and I would recite them every day. It would start in the gym, right? I'm fast. I'm adjustable. If the tough gets going and going to get tough, that means I'm going to rise to the occasion. If someone hit me, I'm going. Let's go. Right. Then it was focus on my jab, throw combinations, listen to my coaches. Those were things that were in my control. So what I would do is who's in the crowd is not in my control.
Right.
What they're saying is not in my control.
Right.
So I try to remove that from my thinking because it's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
But I would do exercises, even not just the imagery, not just the meditation, but I would do things. I would put myself in uncomfortable situations to see if I can just stay locked in on the objective of the goal at hand. One thing was I went to acting class.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So not only chess now you're saying
I went and took acting class. I went and did an acting class, and I wanted to be in a room where I wasn't the best at something. I wanted to be in a room that made me uncomfortable. And standing on that stage, reciting a line, I had much rather let everybody in that room punch me in the face. I would sweat. I would tense up. I would look around. And I would just recite lines. But what it did was, the practice was putting myself in a situation where I had to focus on the objective at hand and not worry about all the outside noise. That was just part of the training. That was part of the mental training. Like when you think about fighting, you think about football, we all know the same punches. We all know the same plays. It's just who feels comfortable enough to free themselves to go do it. Right. And I think that's where putting those hours in, working on the mental part, working on the mindset, working on getting those 10,000 hours in, working on how I communicate to my son and the other kids, not coming from a place of trauma. It's like, hey guys, if we do this over and over and over, if we just focus on this one thing, if we block out the noise, don't worry about the cameras. Now you guys have the cameras on the field, which is great. So now the kids looking around, what are these? What's going on? Is that a drone? I have to get them to settle it back down and focus back in on the objective at hand. So once we're able to do that, we're in a good space.
Yeah, and I really like the acting part. I've only done improv, and with improv, the rule is you keep going no matter what. You don't stop, and that's kind of something that translates really well. And again, I'm not an athlete, right? But you have to keep going, even if there's you drop the ball, the pass, whatever, you have to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just stop and, you have
Yeah.
to keep going. And so that's something that I feel like it connects to what you're saying.
Yeah, I think the mindset, no matter what you do, the mindset is the same. I think the same thing goes into being a great CEO, being a great athlete, being a great actor, entertainer. I think the mindset doesn't change. I think it's the same principles going to being great at any of those things. I think it's the same principles, same fundamental principles going to all of it.
Right. And so, you have a lot of experience as an athlete,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm wondering what was the biggest adjustment or growth you had to do now that you're coaching flag football, your son, what's the growth been like for you?
Being in charge of something that I can't physically control.
Oh.
I'm used to everything being on me. Win, lose, or draw, it's on me, and I can live with that. I can, like, if I win, great. If I lose, so I don't have anybody to blame. Mm-hmm. When I have these little bodies in front of me, and I'm looking at them, I'm going, "Hey, guy, if you just listen, hey, guy, if you could just try." Mm-hmm. All right, you're just here because your mom wanted you to get out the house and get some exercise. These kids are really trying to do it, so I think the biggest adjustment is understanding that it's not about me, right? It's not about what I want. I think another adjustment is understanding that I can't get out there and run the ball for them. I have to be this guy. I have to be this guy just to be the example, right? All right, guys. All right, good job. That was terrible. Good job, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna get it on the next one. I hope we get it on the next one. So I think that's the biggest adjustment. It's not falling all on me. Although I get all the blame if we lose.
Right.
Right. And if we win, I get none of the credit. Right. It's those kids were great. Yeah, was it really? I did that. But I think that's the biggest adjustment. It's not me. It's like not being the product anymore. Like that thing, being that person, being that center of attention, and having to rely on other people to carry out the things I give them, the assignments I give them. So that's and then them being under 10.
Right.
Right. It's like hard to get your kid to clean his room.
Right.
It's hard to get your kid to eat his vegetables. Right. Try to get a bunch of them on the same page to follow through with an objective. Yes, that's extremely hard. That's probably where my grade comes from.
Yeah. And what's the one thing just watching your son develop over time? What's been the greatest thing for you?
Us spending time together. Us having something we can spend time together and do. And just seeing him commit to something. Like people see my son and he does really well out there, but most people don't know my son plays football 2, maybe 3 days a week. He doesn't touch a football the other days. Yes, nothing. It's literally, hey, we got practice, we play a game, and then you go be a kid. Right? Nice. He has his whole life to be in these situations where a scholarship, is hanging on the fact that he has to compete or he has to perform a certain way. Like being a pro athlete, you know how demanding and unforgiving sports is. So, I want him to remain being a kid as long as he can. But the biggest thing I do get from it is us being able to spend time doing something cool together. And just watching, like I said, just watch him commit to something. I think when you see your kid, they're into something, you almost want to keep feeding it, right?
Yeah.
Because, it's like they found something they're passionate about. So, and I find joy in that.
Nice, yeah. And so for some of the kids who maybe, fall apart because they made a mistake, some kids equate that with failure.
Yeah. And
so how do you bring them back, or how do you, what do you say to that?
I smile. I smile. I say, I see it. You want it. We're going to get on the next one. And we shake hands. And I say, I got your back. And I always give them that reassurance that I'm not turning my back on you. I got you. Because, you already beating yourself up. It does nothing for me to beat you up. You know you may have made a mistake. You know something didn't go your way. So, I'm not in the business of kicking someone when they're down. I'm about uplifting them. And sometimes, it's teaching them how to deal with a little adversity. Hey, man, because we wanted it to happen doesn't mean it was going to happen. there's something we need to learn from this. Okay, what could we have done differently? All right, hey, if it happens again, how would you go about it? Hey guys, you see your guy down. What should you be doing? Hey, pick him up. I tell my team, like, we chant the team name and then we chant family afterwards. That's what we chant every time we break out of the huddle, before we start practice, when we in practice. Because I want them to understand that we need to surround each other. We pick each other up.
Is that how you use chanting to help the team? It's a unifier?
Yeah. See, you try to unify the guys. If you get them on the same page, they start to look at each other like they don't want to let each other down. And they go a little harder.
How do you help them refocus in the game? So in the sense you were mentioning, you won't turn your back on them, but also too, sometimes we don't even have that moment. Is the next play's happening? We're setting up already. How do you help them in that moment?
Being an athlete, you able to, at least especially in my sport, body language. I'll immediately remove them from that particular situation if I see their body language isn't where it needs to be. And I go, hey, why don't you slide over here and try this one? And you go over here and you do this. So I don't pull them out. I just break them, move them over, because I know they have that fight or flight is real.
Yeah.
And then you can see it clear as day in these little bodies, if you're paying attention. Excuse me. What I do is I just try to move them over. Sometimes I'll just get down to their level. Just, hey man, come on, next play. You got this. Hey guys, I'm model. Next play. Pick each other up. I got you. Don't worry about it. Or if I see they really in a bad situation, hey man, come over here and talk to me for a minute. Hey, such and such, go take your spot. And we come over to the sideline. Hey man, it's okay. You made a mistake. I make mistakes. And I always, I show my vulnerabilities to them. When they see that, they're like, oh, really? You were scared too? Yeah, man, it's just nerve-wracking. And we have fun with it.
Yeah.
We smile. We say it out loud. I want you to say what you're feeling out loud. There's a lot of space out here. It won't seem that big when you say it out loud. But if you let them kids keep them all piled up in here, it's not enough space in here for them. It's not enough even for us.
Right.
So I just get them to say it out loud. What you feeling? I tell you what I'm feeling. This is crazy, man. Once we do that, we normalize that. We normalize communication.
Right. Yeah. My favorite saying is name entertainment. Now you gotta name entertainment. If you don't do it, it's we have to speak what we can. Sometimes making the unspeakable speakable. And for maybe some of these kids, or even for ourselves growing up, there wasn't room for that to express that. Yeah. So it's very powerful, and I'm Joe, I'm only 4'11", so you're much taller than me. Everyone else is taller than me, just a little bit. And so it's very powerful, to see, for kids to see you, an adult, a big person, right? And a man as well, sharing that and emphasizing the openness and the, being vulnerable and sharing what you feel. And let's name it, let's call it out. So that's I'm gonna take that, because that's really important.
It's big. I mean, these little people, sometimes we have to stop ourselves and realize they haven't been here that long. We automatically assume that they understand what we're asking of them. We assume that with adults, but especially these little guys, these little girls, it's like, they ain't been that long. They just learned how to tie their shoe not too long ago.
Right.
Now we're asking them, and then I even tell some of the players on my team, like, I would tell the parents, like, you don't understand what kind of pressure that kid is under right now. That quarterback, he's feeling everything. That star player, he's feeling everything. That kid who just his first time, he doesn't know what to do with all these emotions. So we have a responsibility, to simplify things, to be vulnerable, to talk to them. I use humor all the time. If I see a dad that's just too over, I've never had any problems with anyone in terms of like when I'm coaching the team. But if I do see a dad that's a little more, I'll tell the kid, I don't think your dad was that good. So he's probably wanting you to go a little harder because of his thing, right? And I'm saying in front of the dad because we're just joking, we're having fun with it. Because if the dad gets to smiling, dad tends to go, "Man, I really wasn't that good," right? And I go, "Cut this guy a break. Let's allow them to make mistakes. Let's allow them to be in a position to actually fall right now, so we can work on these things. And when it's time for him to be ready and to be to that place, they'll be there. I don't expect it from him today. But being an athlete, I have that kind of inside track of, hey man, It takes a long time to get good at things.
Mm-hmm.
No, some people learn differently. Some people are slower. Some people get there. Some people just try something out. So when we do that, we do.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's so important in terms, we talk about transferable skills, and that taking them to any area of their life as they grow, to be able to simplify it, but to also see that it doesn't have to be that serious. When we're in a job interview, or when we're trying a different sport, or we're in class, we're doing a test, simplify it in ways that we can digest it, and where can we insert humor and know that it's going to be okay.
Absolutely.
I think that's so important.
And breaking it down into steps, right? Not like seeing the instead of the whole picture, let's just start with like a little, like
some simple. You guys always give me the kids who typically never played football before.
That's on purpose. Now we're gonna definitely do it on purpose.
I always tell them I have responsibility to make sure that the game is fun for them. Like, parents are always ranting and raving how good I am with the kids, because I tell them I just talk to them the way I want to be spoken to, right? I don't want nobody coming down on me because I made a mistake. It's gonna make me not want to do it anymore, right? Hell, explain it to me. Tell me how to do it. Like, being a fighter, when your coach comes back to the corner, last thing you want to hear him going is, "Man, do something." What am I supposed to do?
Right, it's unclear.
Right. So, when you have good people around you, you learn how to communicate. You learn how to break it down in a way where people can digest it. They're 9, they're 8, they're young, even they're a little older. You have responsibility to them. We have responsibility to break it down into little steps, mentally, physically, emotionally, man, and just, and at the best part is we're supposed to be having fun.
Right. So what would be a nugget that you would give new coaches?
Take a deep breath, right? Understand that, again, they haven't been here that long. Simplify it. I give you a story. I remember talking to one of the greatest fighters of all time, one of Evander Holyfield. And he's known for having a big heart. Like, when he get hit, he comes back and he just he goes to town on people. Like, he's a warrior. He's known for that. And I remember sitting down talking, and I was like, champ, what is it? Like, what's that thing, man? Like, when you get hit, you turn it on. And I was waiting for him to break down this $1 billion information. And this man looked me in my face and he said, Southern guy, my mama said somebody hit you, you hit them back. I was like, wait, what? But what I gathered from it was he simplified it. He simplified it. It wasn't nothing crazy. It was something as simple as that man's mother told him, if someone hits you, you hit them back. And all the greats in every sport simplify things. Don't get out there trying to play John Madden with these kids. Simplify it. Don't allow your ego to come in and determine how you speak to the kids, because you're setting the groundwork on how they learn how to communicate in these situations. And simplify it.
And how they expect others to communicate to them. So if they're accepting of that, then that's what they're going to expect from others. And when they don't give that, oh, you're not yelling at me? Then I don't know if you're being serious.
You don't know yet.
Right?
And we start to equate that with love, or you care. Tell me you love me. Tell me you like me. Like, don't yell at me and come down on me. But again, like I said, just simplifying it. Simplifying things, breaking it down. And just remember, man, they're kids. That's our responsibility. We're setting the groundwork on how they deal with adversity. They were probably their introduction to the sport. Probably first time they have someone outside of their parent giving them instruction and kind of telling them to do something. So we have a responsibility.
What is it like for you to hear parents on the sideline saying things into the game, or coaching their kids as you're trying to coach their kids, and maybe yelling at the ref, doing things like that?
I always cringe because it's easy to sit on the sideline and throw stones. It's easy to sit on the sideline and criticize. I typically believe is because they don't know what it takes to go in here and do this kind of thing. You know, it's easy. Like that's easy to sit over there and just behind. It's kind of like get on the internet and talking crazy about somebody behind a fake profile, right? That's easy. I always try to remove the kids as much as I can from it, but I can't protect them from it all the way. And I think that's gonna be probably much like one of my bigger battles because I'm a protector by nature, and I know like these people aren't. You know, I might have gotten into it with a few parents.
Right. And then the unable to control that part. Like that's one of those aspects. It sounds like control kind of has been gotten you a lot of success, and this is the one part that
it's
is
part of
not.
I can't control. But yet I want to protect the kids, but I can't control that situation. They're too young to block out the noise. I can block out the noise. I practiced it for 30 years. They haven't been here for 10, so they can hear these things. Off record, I may have went off on a few parents in the crowds, especially when I've played in some leagues and the parents are on the field with us. And I've turned around to groups of parents and, chewed them out, like, what do you get out of John at a 9-year-old? Have some class. Right. It's not about you, it's the kids. But again, that's part of my journey of trying to trying to settle that down. I'm not done yet. I'm still got some work. Still a work in progress.
It's okay. We all are a work in progress. That's life.
Yeah.
That's. We don't ever want to finalize where we've been yet because we've got so much more to go.
Yeah.
So
We're working on. I'm working on that one. That's gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, this has been a very good conversation. I really enjoyed getting to know you more than just saying hello on Sundays and knowing a little bit more about you. And so thank you for having a conversation with us and sharing more about you and what you do.
Thank you guys for having me. This was great. And, I'm so mad at your husband, but thank you. Thank you.